Dear Mr. Aziz Ali, the 5-year boxing ban now stands closed. Please collect your license.
क्या करूंगा ये लाइसेंस लेकर?
फिर से बॉक्सिंग करो.
तुम तो ऐसे कह रही हो कि अक्खी दुनिया वेट कर रही थी. कभी आएगा और अजीज अली फिर से बॉक्सिंग करेगा.
किस बात का डर है तुमको?
इंडियन बॉक्सिंग में एक नया उभरता सितारा अजीज अली डोंगरी का एक स्ट्रीट फाइटर है.
Hello. Welcome back to Queen is Dead. We have Dhruv with us again. We're talking about the new Amazon Prime release, Toofaan. We've already spoken about the other release, Malik, which is out, and you can check that episode out as well. And yeah, I think Toofaan was supposedly like a big, Hindi film release. And yeah, so initial thoughts, like what are your initial thoughts about the film, Dhruv?
I've seen this movie before. I think that's in different forms with a different director and with different actors, but it's the same movie. Yeah. There's just the repetition of the formula of the boxing movie is very much there throughout this film. Is my sort of overall impression of it. And specifics, I think I am not the biggest fan of Farhan Akhtar's Gunda performance or Gundagiri performance. I always think it's very put on, which is not to say that. Yeah. We will get to the specifics later. What about you, though? What about your thoughts?
I am a huge fan, like not a huge fan, but I really like Farhan Akhtar as an artist. Like how he's gone from a director to a singer, actor, and a lot of other things. But I was like moderately excited about the film purely because like it was a good collaboration last time. Like I'm not a massive fan of Bhag Milkha Bhag, but I really liked that movie. I thought like there was like a genuine effort put into making that film. Like there was intent, effort, and everything else. But I was slightly apprehensive about the fact that they're making a boxing film. So, I mean, obviously, when you've already made something, you want to tread on a similar path and try something new wala aspect, right? But then boxing, to me, I think is very limiting as a cinematic experience. Like, how many more iterations can you have of the same thing again and again? So you see any boxing film now, like how you just said, you've probably seen this film in a different packaging, but it's just been the same storyline, same theatrics, same cinematic elements, the underdog story, etc. Yeah, so I mean, there's not so much more to it than I thought it would have been, and that is the disappointing part, I think. Like I thought there would be at least some effort that can go into it, if not in the writing part, but at least in the shooting part, maybe there can be something very innovative that they could try.
I think.
So, I mean, I'm genuinely disappointed.
I think it's more to do with this is like that type of film where which I think even other Hindi auteur directors like Anurag Kashyap, easy one because he did Mukkabaz, and then even Zoya Akhtar doing something like Gully Boy, right? That's a similar template underdog story, and I think in these films the script becomes second. I mean, generally I think nowadays there is a lack of new stories, so script sometimes becomes the least important thing almost, and then the director's thing becomes the most important thing, right? Because like where
the treatment is more important.
It's where their craft shines the most, because story to from before only, right? Because these things are like already written in stone almost, that what the story of an underdog is going to be. So it's basically what treatment you're going to do of it that is like the most important part of a film like this. And I think something like Mukkabaz, I've watched it a long time back, but I remember genuinely feeling like Anurag Kashyap brought something different to it. Like, he introduced his politics and his sort of ideology into a very well-worn genre, and then that way you got to see. So I think it's a good showreel for the director actually, if more than anything else. I know this is more like a showreel for, not for Farhan Akhtar even, for Farhan Akhtar's physical training. Like that's the biggest show reel for, which is what I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the main selling point
Yeah.
in almost actually in a film like this. Because unless they had like they I don't know which film would do this, but like if you could like clad them in some banyan or something which hides their effort, like bodily effort, to actually do something. If you do that, then it's like, oh wow, you're not like showing the physical effort, but like
Yeah.
here I think
mean,
it's a
yeah.
very big draw. Like there's the whole Sultan moment also in this, right? Where you see his
Yeah,
body
yeah,
like
yeah.
bulged out and everything, and then
The paunch and
exactly.
everything.
So if that's the draw, then I think it's a problem. From the director's point of view, also, by the way, because he's gone through some strange trajectory, hasn't he, Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra? He's in the film, right? He's one of the characters.
Yeah.
Not characters, but he's
Yeah. Surprisingly.
he just comes out to say 2-3 lines.
Like
Yeah.
a filler role.
Yeah, basically. But he's had a
I mean, so
no. Go ahead.
yeah,
go.
yeah, go ahead.
No. I go ahead. I'm just saying that he's had a very weird trajectory as a director. I know that from what I
Yeah.
remember, because I've not seen his films for a long time.
Hmm.
Rang De Basanti, I think, is fairly universally loved. Fairly universally, I'm sure there are
Hmm,
dissenting voices. Delhi 6 was fairly divisive, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Mirzia,
In a way,
I
yeah.
really don't like, but I know it's got its cult following and fan. And to be honest to it, at least it has like directorial flair to it. Like he's doing something with it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't see Mere
Yeah,
Pyare Pyare Prime Minister, which I think you said was
Pyare
very bad,
Prime
right?
Minister.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, around like the Bhag Milka Bhag phase was also like the time when I was like watching films and everything at that point. But like I quite like Bhag Milka Bhag, but I thought like he had a lot of story in it, right? So he had to service the story as well.
yeah.
But by the point it got to Mirzia, I saw a lot of like that a very particular directorial flair. Like he was trying like a lot of experimental things with a very cliched story, right? Like the Mirza Sahiban is like a very cult story in terms of like let's say Romeo Juliet and
Yeah.
everything. So he was trying like a Greek chorus kind of aspect
Yeah.
to it, and
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
like there was a very musical
Definitely.
quality.
I mean,
yeah.
I see. I know that film doesn't work for me one bit, but I know that at least it's going for something. So, like, I know it's got like a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
stuff. As in, it does feel like a director's movie, which is why I think the criticism towards Harshvardhan Kapoor and Sayami Kher in that film was a bit unfair, because I don't think they were given enough due, and like it was very much a Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra movie. So,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree
yeah.
with you.
Like with Mirzia, I think both of these actors, and I think most of the actors were just fit into this machinery that he
Yeah.
had. So they can't do beyond like a certain point of in terms of like performances and
Yeah.
everything. And it was like even that was like a very scripted thing in a sense. There's this like structurally, directorially, and a lot of that. But then I think he was still indulging a lot in the shot taking of the film and everything. And I think that carried on to Mere Pyare Prime Minister as well.
Like the short indulgence,
I
is
think,
that? Or
like the short
Okay.
indulgence actually, like how he's using his camera to do a certain
Okay.
scene. Like even if there's no need to do like a single take, he would do
Oh,
a single
really?
take
Okay.
kind of thing. Yeah, I'm talking about like Mere Pyare Prime Minister. So I mean, there were like a lot of scenes where I felt a lot of performances weren't like well directed in Mere Pyare Prime Minister, and that's where I thought he just lost out the charm of being a very good director. Like you can direct the camera, that's a great quality, and not a lot of directors can pull that off, right? But still, there was a lot left. And coming to Toofaan now, I thought like when a person like Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra was coming, and he has like even though he has like a very cliched story, like a story that has been like done to death, you still bring a lot to the table in terms of how you can put it together, right? Like you can package it well. But here he chose to package it in a very 90s formulaic Bollywood thing, which I thought was very surprising to me. I thought there was no need for that, and it wasn't done well either. Like I thought, like why would he choose this kind of story, like the boy girl romance bit? Like I was like, why was this even needed? Like even if it was needed, there were like 10 other different ways
This
to do
was
it.
originally planned to release in the cinema, though, right?
Yeah.
Then I can understand it more. It could be a comeback movie for Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra in the sense that I can imagine this kind of movie doing well
Probably, yeah.
at the box office. Like I don't think there's like when I was watching it, I was like I wasn't completely first half I wasn't bored. I'll be honest. Second half I was fairly bored after a point. But then I think. I think a lot of people like this sort of underdog story, right? They want it's a easy sell, and it's like
Easy sell, yeah.
there's nothing controversial in it. There's one religion angle that's introduced, and in that also it's just like put over.
Yeah.
It's like a what do you call it? Like a topping on a Sunday or something like that. Like
Yeah.
it's like let's just put something for its sake, sort of like that.
But another thing that I was like just thinking about the film was also the talent that is involved in the writing department. So it's written by Anjum Rajabali. So I don't know if you know a lot about him in general.
I was just looking up his name actually on IMDb just before we were talking. So yeah.
I mean, so he's got like a good number of credits to his name and everything.
Yeah.
And he's written Legend of Bhagat Singh and a couple of Prakash Jha films and a few more.
Yeah.
So for people who are like unaware about Anjum Rajawali, so he's a writer, and he basically is a script doctor in the industry. He basically does all the script doctoring work for like let's say like the 60% of the scripts that come to him. And if I haven't attended like his classes and everything, but I've had friends who've attended his classes who studied in FTI, and there are people who've attended his workshops separately and everything. And there's a certain formula to writing a screenplay which is given by him. Like at this point, a certain conflict has to drop. At this point, the girl and the boy meet. At this point, there's a song, right? So even in that structure, there's a lot to be appreciated because even that is successful in its own way, right?
Of course.
And to be very honest, I really like the Legend of Bhagat Singh film. And I think one of its biggest strengths at that time, and even now that I think, it was its screenplay. How it goes from transitions from one scene to another into a song, right? Into a romance, and how it sets up that romance, how it sets up characters, how it sets up montages. It was like I think it was like perfectly done in that sense, and like obviously a lot of other elements also come into play and everything. And if you've seen Anubhav Sinha's the last 3 films that he's done, which I'm sure you also have like a certain liking towards them.
I do,
Yeah, so Mulk, Thappad and Article 15, all
Article
these
15,
films have had Anjum Rajabali's overview over the whole screenplay and everything, right?
Yep.
So I mean, then it becomes a little surprising why he's stuck to the T of the subject, because he could have moved somewhere around the subject and could have done something more with it, right?
I
Like,
just
I thought
thought,
there was, like,
I just thought that the religion thing would probably become the center of it. Like I didn't expect the second half to go completely, because the second half introduces like 3 different conflicts at like different points, I think, and all of them feel very clumsily inserted. So I think the first one is, I mean, if you want to count it, the first conflict I guess happens at the interval point is the one between the father and the father-in-law and the main character because of their differing religions. Then the second conflict, spoiler alert, is the death of one of the people who's very who connects these two figures together. Yes. So that is, and it's also a very clumsily handled scene from what I remember. Like it's just very shoddily directed, that scene. Then there's that really, really strange villain of 2 villains are introduced. One is the boxer villain is introduced in some random shot of him like boxing like a punching bag. And that's it. Like that's the introduction to a villain. And then there's the recurring character of Darshan Kumar, who plays this kind of role in like every movie. He's the right. He's the evil villain, I guess. So like he's the person who Farhan Akhtar beat in the first half of the film, and then he returns in the second half to be like an evil
in a
company or
different-
government guy almost. And then he also has his like introductory moment with like completely like a bad or loud background score. Introducing all of them. So it's very strange then how bullet pointish these conflict feel.
Exactly my thoughts. Like, because I thought like they were like 1, 2, 3, 4, that's it. You're not going from 1.1.1 or 1.2 or 1.3 also at some point. Like, you're not branching out into something else and like weird, like meandering. And I thought like there were like some genuinely decent moments there in it, like how the like Rakesh Prakash Mehra handled a few moments. Like, there's one scene which I like moderately liked between Mrunal Thakur and Farhan Akhtar's characters at their like usual spot of meeting. But even there's like no meat to a lot of these conflicts. I thought they were like fairly surface level, and they're like, okay, this happens, and even those scenes, if you've seen it, right? Okay, your scene begins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dialogues, and that's it. Conflict comes in. Oh, boom, and there's the argument, and then it gets done, and it's over.
Yeah.
So I thought like this is like too much of like pointish kind of things. But what the other thing that I also the things that I liked were the cinematography in general. Like, Jay also shot it really well. Like, even see, I think then there's a context of the whole thing, right? They're trying to treat it also in a very earthy manner, like not earthy, like what I'm trying to say is something closer to a reality of how people converse, right? But if you shoot it in a very functional way, then it becomes a little boring. He engaged us with his cinematography, and it was like almost unnoticeable because you don't notice it unless you actually would want to particularly single out something that is good. And it just seamlessly went ahead with whatever the context of the film was. So I thought that was like a very good thing. What anything else did you like particularly?
I really like Mrunal Thakur. I know her performance is a little too like bubbly because I think that's the type of, because it's kind of compensating for how normal I guess the other two characters, like Paresh Rawal and Farhan Akhtar's character is. But her character reminded me so much of like Gracie Singh in Munna Bhai MBBS, or like Vidya Balan and Lage Raho Munna Bhai, or there's one more character I was thinking of. I mean, she's also Meghna in Mohabbatein here, just to like she's like a combination of a lot of Asin and Ghajni. So like all those people, whoever like the bubbly character, right? And I was like, fine, at least it's like someone's bringing life to like the surroundings, I guess. So I kind of enjoyed her performance. I think the chemistry between them was also nice. Like, I kind of enjoyed that between Farhan Akhtar and Mrunal Thakur. And then,
I mean, those parts are well directed also, I think.
Yeah, like the first half, I think, has a lot of that, which I thought was like very pleasant. It wasn't like great or like something very revolutionary that some directors done, but like it was pleasant. And I thought the religion angle would be interesting, but like again, it's very done there, isn't it? Like the whole So yeah, I don't. Second half especially, I think I just lost connect again. It's the whole thing of like when one character you really like goes from the movie, what do you sort of connect to, kind of? And it had a very I agree with you though. Like the cinematography was good. I thought the first fight of the film, which is not a boxing fight, was actually shot quite well. I thought, like, even edited well. I thought they didn't use any background score in it, which is a big plus for me actually. I really find it impactful when you can like hear the punches or like that, more so than like the. So I really like that scene, but then a lot of the boxing scenes just have that montage sensibility to them, where it's like cut, and then it's like let's put rock music behind it and everything. So
the second montage I thought could serve as a very good advertisement for a gym. Like,
which one is this one?
The second montage, you remember when he's like trying to get into
the one after to like in the second half.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I mean-
where he's walking up the stairs on on like on some construction building.
yeah.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I agree.
but what do you think a film like a boxing film in general could have done something, if not revolutionary, but something, more impactful? Like what comes to your mind in general?
See, I'm the better target audience for this film because I've actually missed a lot of the Rambo films.
Oh,
Rambo? No, what am I
Rocky,
saying?
Rocky.
Rambo, sorry, Rocky films. Yeah, so I've actually not been well versed in them. So my reference points are like your Raging Bull and
Yeah.
all that, right? So I've actually not seen that many. So I just think I think this type of story can work. Like the underdog story can still work. I think it's just you need to make us believe
Yeah.
in characters. Like it's a very simple. I think if you're going to make this film, you have to be super invested in the conventions. I think, and this film I don't think has interest in making the conventions anything good.
Right.
It feels very. It's like a assignment almost that Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra has been given
Yeah.
to make so that he can make his next feature. Like it feels like that. I don't know how much of that's
Quite
true
possible,
or not,
yeah.
but like the treatment feels very much like one of those things that you'll get a good mark, which is like make good money, and and then you can proceed to make whatever experimental stuff you want to
Yeah.
make. Which I don't know who'll fund our next Mirzia. I have no idea. So
Yeah. But see, I think we've already at least I've already spoken to so many people about like the OTT versus theater wala thing, right? And
Yeah.
even if a film is meant to be like, this is just a realization that I had like last night after watching this film. Even if it's meant for a theatrical exhibition, it should at least serve some purpose out of that for like your laptop screen or your TV screen that you're going to watch this film at. And I thought this didn't have anything more beyond like a theatrical viewing experience at
Yeah.
all. Like it didn't even make an effort
Yeah.
in any sense. So more than that, I thought if it was genuinely focused more on like the OTT space, I think it would have been much better in terms of the risks that it could have taken. Like the first film that
Yeah.
came to my mind was, if not Raging Bull, because it's like already done couple of times, like the style and a lot of the rage inside De Niro's character, was Million Dollar Baby, the Clint Eastwood film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Again, haven't seen.
Oh, you haven't seen? Okay, sorry.
I'm the target. I'm the target audience. Sir.
Okay,
I'm the target
so
audience.
I
for this
don't
film
want to
then.
talk a lot about that film, but that is one film that I really like because it breaks at like the middle part of it goes into a totally different direction, and I don't want to talk more about
Got
it
it.
because that is something that I absolutely loved. I thought this is one of the best moments and best risks any writer and a director could have taken in a conventional
Got
boxing
it.
or like a sports film, like
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've probably seen like a box. Like I can tell you like 3 films where I've seen De Niro in a boxing film. Like one was that
Yeah.
with Stallone, right?
He did Grudge Match, no, with
yeah,
Al
yeah.
Pacino.
Al Pacino
Yeah.
or what? De Niro.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Was it
sir.
Al Pacino
No,
or
I think
someone?
it was
No,
with
Sylvester Stallone probably.
yeah.
Stallone,
And
sorry.
then
Yeah.
there was this another movie where he was playing a coach to this actor. I don't know that actor's name, but Hands of Stone. Hands of Stone. So, I mean, all
Okay.
of these,
Oh, yeah.
all of these films have like are very similar. Even I remember this another
Yeah.
boxing film called Bleed for This, which had Miles Teller, where he was doing like a very Italian
Oh,
boxing,
yeah.
kind of thing. So all of these films are fairly similar to each other, and I think there's no investment unless in these characters unless there's like an old nostalgia related to that character like how Rocky was and how it translated to, let's say, Creed, right? And Creed it has like a
Yeah.
lot of emotional nostalgic value added to it. And if it's a good director,
Yeah.
you can make it more engaging, right? Like if you've seen Creed,
Of
have you
course,
seen
yeah.
Creed?
Nothing have
Oh
seen.
my
I
God.
didn't see Creed because of Rocky, because I haven't seen Rocky.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even in Creed, how they like stage a couple of fights and everything, that was like innovatively done. So I thought maybe they could have done something like that to enhance the
Yeah.
quality of the film, because it
Yeah.
fairly stays like a 90s Bollywood
Yeah,
romance,
yeah,
like
it is.
you
It
know.
is. And I think, in fact, now that you were talking about different ways and especially about how Million Dollar Baby breaks in the middle, right? I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
maybe this could have broken in the middle, instead
Yeah.
of being like a film in which three other events happen in the second half, where boxing comes
Yeah.
again into the foray. Like, what if he loses the motivation itself to become a boxer and he's more content with his life at home, I guess, or like he can't
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
have, or he doesn't have the energy now left to train again. Like, all that stuff is very, I know it's a downer sort of story in that sense, but like I
Yeah.
think those at least provide new avenues of telling stories then, because like otherwise if you're gonna show this same story again and again, like at one point they will sort of really start to feel stale.
Yeah.
And
I
this is
mean,
coming from a person who's not seen many boxing films, but I mean, I've seen underdog films, but yeah.
but you get the template, right? It's more or
Yeah,
less the
yeah, you
same
get
thing
the
only,
template.
right?
Yeah.
Like you can go and watch this Mithun Chakravarti boxing film also, titled The Boxer, and you'll feel the
Yeah.
same thing as this film. Like there's no difference except
Got it.
that was made in 80s and this is made in
Yeah.
2020s and whatever. So
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
that chunk
I think
is a
it's,
little disappointing. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. No, I think it is about like characters, and like I think in these
Yeah.
films especially, you need the characters to really come alive. You need the I mean, unless you're going the gully boy route, right? Which is like basically less so about. It's not just about the gully boy. It's a lot about
Yeah, it's
the
just
character surrounding him. Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
again not the hugest gully boy fan, but like my favorite character in that is not Ranveer Singh's. It's Alia Bhatt's. So like again, at least you have like varieties there, right? Like you have like people to
Exactly,
select
exactly.
from. Yeah.
And that is another thing which I didn't like, was like all these characters was very serviceable to the central character only at some point. Like, okay, so you begin this film with this one character who goes and like beats up a hotel owner for money, for whatever, and then he goes to an orphanage just to show he's not just a bad person, he's a man with a heart of gold.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I thought
Yeah.
that this doesn't really, serve me as a
Yeah.
viewer. I thought like you're going to do something different with him. And, I thought this was probably one of the worst things they could have done, where he's having like a brawl or something on the roadside, and the other characters just conveniently passing by the road and she's just taking him out. Oh, he's doing
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Of
I mean,
course. I mean
you
that happens a
shouldn't do
lot in
that
this.
at least.
That
Yeah,
happens
it
quite a
like
bit
twice
in
or
this.
thrice. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And
So, I
even
mean,
like the side character, his friend is so like serviceable for, and
Very,
it's
very, very
very strange,
serviceable.
right? Because they reminded me a little bit. Again, my Munna Bhai brain was very active at this point for some reason. I was like,
Yeah.
this is like Munna and Circuit if Munna and Circuit weren't interesting people.
Yeah.
Or like they didn't have like a genuine friendship with each other, right? Because and we'll get to someone's accent of Bhaigiri.
You get to it now,
which
it's
is-
okay.
Which is very troubling. Like I think I saw Farhan Akhtar in Daddy, the Arjun Rampal film, right? With
Oh,
which
right,
Asim
right, who's that?
Ahluwalia made, and he's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dawood in that, Dawood Ibrahim.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've never been able to shake off Farhan Akhtar as like the urban guy. So like to
Yeah,
me,
yeah, yeah.
it's very hard to see him as a gangster.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
even a version of him. Like it feels only very unnatural to his personality to me
Right,
at least.
right. I had the exact same thoughts when I was watching. I was like, okay, he's just trying too hard, or is it just me who's not able to like separate his personality from the character that he's
it's
trying
both.
to
I mean, he's so much of a urban character though. Like he's like as a person only, he doesn't feel like he
Yeah.
goes outside. I don't know the Mumbai ka geography or whatever, but like
Yeah.
he doesn't look like he goes out from whatever South Bombay stereotype, I guess.
Quite possible.
So it's a very sort of strange thing. Like I don't know his other roles. I've always liked him in his urban roles, Lag by
Yeah, I mean,
Chance or whatever. Like
he's
in
always
his
been like good, really good in those films where he's been like,
Yeah.
playing what may suit his sensibilities also. But like if you watch a film like I don't think so, you've probably seen that movie called Lucknow Central,
I've not seen.
where so I mean That film didn't work. And I think, what else was he in? What else has
I like him in
been
Karthik calling Karthik also I like, but he's much more urbanized in that. He's not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
small
yeah.
town kid. Yeah.
So those films are still working for him. Like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, which
Of course.
he's still
Yeah.
playing like a slightly impressionable
Yeah.
version of himself only as a person.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those things really work. Even like Rock On worked for me,
Yeah.
and even Bhag Milka Bhag sort of just worked wonders.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know,
he was good in Bhag Milkha Bhag. That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
If you convince me, I mean, I think that's like enough. But like whatever, even in this film called Shadi Ke Side Effects,
Oh
usme
yeah,
also he's
but
playing very comedic
he's
personality
very
and all of that,
Farhan
right?
Akhtar only, I think, in that. Too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Like,
all those things really work. But I don't
yeah.
think so. He's like been very prolific or very flamboyant as a performer in any other films apart from these films.
Yeah.
I can't even like
So
recall
how
what
was
else he's done.
how
apart
was he
from
in Lucknow Central?
I mean, no, like I mean, I could have said he was okay, but no, he wasn't good. Like
Okay.
put
So it just
put any
doesn't
actor in that place, and probably that actor will do like much better than him. Maybe.
So it's just like the mismatch in terms of then the real life ka thing and then
Yeah.
got it.
But
Yeah, no, I
see,
think,
like let's take Vineet Kumar, who played Mukkabaz, right?
yeah.
He was bringing a lot of chaos internally and like as like a physical performance also in it, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there is a lot of physical performance in this film Toofaan as well, but that
Yeah.
internal performance comes out only in barely like 6 scenes or 7 scenes. Like I'm not sure,
Yeah,
it wasn't there consistently, and even like I am pretty sure he was like inconsistent in his accent a few times in the middle, right?
I think he was
Like I
in the
can't.
first half itself. I was like, this is like going all over the place only. No, but it's also the fact that, the comparison that's actually struck me right now is that Toofaan
Yeah.
is like the Dhadak to Mukkabaz's Sairat.
Oh
It
my
has
God.
that
Yeah.
aspect to it. That it's like a commercialized product
Generic.
versus like versus like the
Like a
real
good
sort
film.
of. Yeah, the Mukkabaz has like a anger to it. Like it does have like a
Exactly,
like
yeah,
a
yeah,
rage
yeah.
underneath it of like not being able to get to something you really want to get to, right? And this
Yeah.
doesn't have that rage. It's very superficial, if that makes sense.
Very sanitized also in its approach towards like a lot of things that happen, right?
Yeah,
Like we've already spoken so many times about like Mukkabaz and how it was like the most almost like a perfect commercial film in every sense. Like
Yeah.
it could serve every kind of an audience. Like I think my parents have enjoyed watching that film, except they got a little
Yeah.
bored towards the second half ka last quarter before that climax strikes.
Yep.
Where it's like him, like there's a lot of thing where he's
There's
like
a
searching for his wife.
village politics also is there, no? Like in terms of that whole.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, like the last quarter, maybe like 20 minutes of it, but
Got it.
otherwise, I think it was like fairly entertaining. There was like every element that we've spoken about in depth, explored in depth,
Yep.
and I think that also comes in with respect to how many scenes you have in your screenplay and how you pace them, right? Because
Got it.
pacing them equally is also important, right? Because you can't have like a very slow scene and then have like 5 fast
Yeah.
scenes, and each of those scenes were well earned in their spaces. And if you look at Mukkavas as well, like it also breaks in the middle where he goes and works in an office and everything, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
even
All
there,
that it's
you can
given
see
so
that
much time.
frustration. Yeah,
Yeah.
given so much time. Go ahead. Anything.
Yeah. No, just that only. Like it's given so much time, and and this quote I keep coming back to by Hitchcock only, and he's written this that what is drama but life without all the dull bits cut out. Like it's a fairly famous
Yeah.
quote, right? And I think I always kind of disagree with it, just because I think the boring or dull bits allow the big bits to sort of shine. Like I think without
Right.
the dull bits, your drama becomes
Contrast.
a combination of highs, and that is not that exciting. And I think a lot of like you get your underdog template story, and in especially something like this, you have all like moments. Like there's very little like breathing room in the middle for like there's
Right.
not a half a second where In fact, there are moments with Paresh Rawal and his friend, which is actually quite a nice, whatever chemistry they two share is quite nice. But so those moments, the side sort of, the very small moments, I think are lacking in something like Toofaan, which I'm pretty sure are not in Mukkabaz. Like, I think that film probably has a lot of those.
I mean, it banged on those relationships and those kind of scenes only to have those uplifting kind of moments, right? And like, see, after let's say when Vineet Singh's character marries his love, I don't remember the
Zoya
character's
Hussain.
name. Zoya Hussein's character. And even they have problems at some point. Like, he's not able to give her time. He wants to do boxing. He wants to have a government job. He wants to have salary. He wants to give time to his wife. He wants to learn sign language for his wife. So I mean, there are like 5 different things that are going, and that is what makes it engaging. Here, it's already like too sanitized. Like, he's already living a happy life with his daughter. He's content with his life. He's happy with his wife. There are no problems. I mean, then why am I even watching it? Like, I could.
I think the personal angle there anyways nullify, no, because his wife wants him to be a boxer. So I think that very simply, it kind of makes him avoid. So he's like, he's like disassociated with all these problems that someone like Vineet Kumar Singh, which is very weird, right? Because he's a Muslim guy living in Bombay, which automatically like should be like can provide a lot of conflict in general. There's the house conflict, which they again montage their way through, which is very strange. You could linger on like all those issues, but then you dedicate like half a scene to introduce the villain, which is like very very poor. Can we please talk about like commentary, like the actual voice commentary in the boxing matches?
Oh, like, my God.
I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. Firstly, like, you have so many devices at your play, right? Like, just drown that noise out, or just use that. Like, it's so it's so weird, because like you get. So I was noticing this, right? Because in the second half, I wasn't like keyed into the drama that much. I was like, so you are introduced to that villain boxer in the beginning, who's like punching the bag and everything, right? Then when he's entering the ring, you get another thing about him, that he's one of the most dangerous boxers in the world. And then like you get that repeatedly 2-3 times by the commentators. And I'm like, why would you introduce that thing in the first place? Isn't that like completely redundant then? I
think like how you said, also I quite liked Paresh Rawal's performance. Like, I think he was fairly good. He had a lot of conviction in whatever he was saying. Like, even if those dialogues may sound like a little bit cheesy or something on paper, the way he delivers it also is really good. Like, I could feel that impact. And that one scene which I genuinely thought was the best of the scenes that they wrote was the one where he finally breaks down with Farhan Akhtar, where he cries, right?
Got it.
I really thought like that was the best scene in the whole film. Like, there's no other scene that can stand out as good as that scene. And the way it's executed with those actors and those and the direction part of it, I thought like that was very well done. Both of them break down, and then they share that, they have like a father-son bond also in a way, and then coach protege and all of those kind of things. And everything, it's sort of like culminating, that whole frustration, anger, sadness, emotion just pouring through it. And the way he breaks down also at that, just it was like so well done, that part. But otherwise, anything else in that film, like nothing stands out or anything. And if you're making a film like this, why make it like a 2 or 40-minute film? You could have just made like a 2 or 15-20-minute film, and that would have also been enough.
Or a 2-hour film, please have mercy.
Any sense.
Have some mercy. I saw it yesterday only. It was 2 hours 40 minutes. I was like in shock. I was like, are we still making 2 or 40-minute films like for this subject matter and everything? But again, I think it all comes down to cinematic. It was designed for a cinema experience, I think. If it was OTT, someone would have taken scissors and cut like at least 20 minutes of it.
I don't think so. It deserved like whatever runtime it had.
It didn't,
could have
but
easily chopped off like whatever 15-20 minutes of it, and it would have still made sense or been coherent enough, how it was.
His last film was 1.5 hours long, right? Mere Pyare Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
But even
strange.
I think what I feel like this is the last thing that I want to talk about this film is Rakesh Prakash Mehra has this very Ridley Scott quality now. If you've
That's
seen
not
like the
promising.
last 4 5 Ridley Scott films, and just my
Yeah.
observation, okay,
Yeah.
and even like last 2 3 Rakesh Prakash Mehra films, they don't like they have this one moment where they're like centering a lot of things around, and they don't ponder over that moment or like let that moment breathe. They
Got
just
it.
glance over that moment very quickly, and they give time to things that don't really need a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like there's one incident in okay, let's first talk about Ridley Scott. Like a lot of his films, like the last 2 3 films that I've noticed, what was that? All the Money in the World, right?
All the money in
And
the world. Yeah.
yeah, and then he also made Martian. What else did he make?
Yeah.
He made something else also in
Alien. He's content on
Alien
destroying the Alien
Covenant.
franchise. Yeah. Yeah.
Alien Covenant. So let's just take those 3 films. Even in those films, there were like a lot of moments where he could have just, built a lot of tension, let's
Yeah.
say, or like the slow moments in a film, something like that, or like certain things, action set pieces, something. But he doesn't do
Yeah.
that. He just glances over those moments and he just moves on. I was like, why? Why are you doing that? And it's the
You.
same thing which happened in this film.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of moments where I thought they could have just stayed for a couple of minutes more, and made us feel those things. It could have seeped in,
Got it.
and it was exactly the same in Mere Pyare Prime Minister. Like there's this one big incident that happens in the film. I don't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
but he just moves over it very quickly, and I'm like, why would he do that? I mean, that literally destroys that character's life, and it's the dynamics around the society where she
Yeah.
lives in, where the kid whose life gets probably like more into this. He's already living in a garbage dump of sorts in a slum, and
Yeah.
it just goes
Yeah.
even further. So I
Got it.
mean, all of
Yeah,
those things were a
but
little disappointing. I thought. Go ahead.
how much do you think is a result of like editing pace and like just the fact that people are constantly editing quicker? Is that a reason why it feels also that it's rushed, or is it like more of a screenplay issue where it's like let's
I
just pack as many
think
incidents as you can?
I think it's more of a screenplay issue, and I think
Got it.
he didn't indulge in the right kind of things he should have indulged in. Any
Got it.
closing thoughts or anything else that you want to talk
No,
about?
I was just saying if you want to watch a Ridley Scott film that breathes, that allows its characters to
Yeah.
breathe, watch The Counselor. It'll put you to sleep. It allows that much time to breathe.
I actually that's the only Ridley Scott film that I've not seen that he's made in the last,
You might-
let's say, in the last 10 12 years.
You might like it, it's got its fan following. I just don't understand
Yeah?
how that movie. Yeah, it's got its fan following. But
The hate that it gets it's unreal.
It,
But it's
I mean,
actually
I
bad, right?
really don't like it. I don't really. It's like you should watch that in combination with No Country for Old Men to just see
Yeah.
how one person
Javier
treats.
Bardem.
Ah, yeah, Javier Bardem's actually good in both. He's actually good in
Oh.
Counselor. He's the only good person in Counselor, and I say that
Okay.
as a big Michael Fassbender fan, and like he's not that good.
Oh, damn.
Irrespective, going back to Toofaan, that's not the Counselor at all. That's more like other Ridley Scott films. So yeah, I'm pretty much. Yeah, I didn't think it was the most horrible thing, honestly. Like maybe whatever we've talked about makes it sound like that. It's not horrible, but then I think it's worse than that. Like to me, the worst thing is like it's the sort of 2 out of 5 star film or 2.5 out of 5, where it's like,
Yeah.
why would
Bang
you
on
want to
average.
watch it? Yeah, bang on average.
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I should have like seen the trailers before watching the film, because then it would have set a lot of expectations in my head. Either way, I didn't have a lot of expectations for this film because I don't
Yep.
keep expectations anymore. But in general, I thought like someone had mentioned to me, it's like super cliche. I was like, yeah, I'll see about it. But it just came like super true.
It
So
is
yeah.
true. Yeah, it's very true.
So, I mean, if not for this film, which other boxing film would you recommend? Apart from Raging
I've
Bull, if
only
you've seen
s-
anything else?
I've Mukkabas. That's the only my boxing knowledge is
Yeah.
very meager. But yes, Mukkabas, because many people didn't watch it when it released.
Yeah. I'll recommend you watch Bukka Bus twice for this film. Chalo. Yeah, I mean, this is the podcast. Follow. This is the conversation. This was great. Uh, also, follow us on Instagram. DM us your suggestions if you have any. Engage with us if you want to on Instagram. Also, follow us on Spotify so that it helps us a lot in reaching out to more people. And yeah, this is it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
पता है ना कौन है हम? माइक टायसन है उत्तर प्रदेश के. अगर एक तो धर दिए ना, प्राण पखेरु हो जाएगा आपका.